be a great wrestling podcast, and you can believe in that.
I knew he was going to do it. I knew.
This is OT3.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Off the Top Turnbuckle podcast. I'm Anthony, and of course we got our awesome producer Paul, who's here with us, and joining us tonight for a change, just kidding, is the birthday guy, Matt. He's here. Welcome back, Matt.
I'm back. Look. I'm not a good guy. I'm not a bad guy. I'm the guy. And the guy retained his title last night.
Did he? Was it a good match at least?
It was actually, I thought it was a very good match. I was very surprised.
It's
actually
better than the match they put on at that he put on at WrestleMania for sure.
Yeah. AJ Styles brought out a new element into him, and I guess we'll segue right into Payback since we're already talking about it. Do you want to start with the main event? I feel like that's gonna be the most noteworthy match that we'll talk about. Yeah.
Why not? And I'm gonna segue off your thing about what AJ brought to the match. There's always charisma between superstars and who works well and who doesn't. You saw probably that Roman and Triple H probably aren't the best at working together. Obviously in the ring, they're just two big, strong guys that just want to throw each other around. AJ, like you said, I think brought something out in Roman. Roman did, some high flying, I think, moves there. Catching AJ, off a springboard with, try and get the Superman punch. With that spear that he did at the end was probably the most vicious spear he's ever done. It was almost like an edge spear, I guess you can say. But yeah, I think these two really work well with each other, and I'm glad that if you heard last night after the main event, they're gonna repeat the main event at Extreme Rules, and I'm really happy. I think these two can maybe get a little feud going here. They hopefully obviously probably Extreme Rules will probably be the end of it. Obviously with Cena returning, spoiler alert, he's already announced it. We could see Cena back in the title picture, but I think these guys these are the type of two guys that could have a feud for a couple months. I think. I mean, what do you think after the match last night?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, I don't think Roman is bad in the ring. I think he's good, but I think that match last night I'm hoping it starts to maybe, I've talked about this for months now, and I'm really hoping that people are going to start just get off of the guy's back. You don't have to like him, but, I mean, the guy's the champion. Stop with if Roman wins, we riot, I'm not going to watch. Then don't watch. You know what I mean? Don't watch. The guy's still going to be the champion. Like this, if you want young guys to be built up, you have to let them have the title and have a lengthy run with it. Having them lose it after a month every time isn't going to really be worthy. And you know what's going to happen eventually? You're just going to get even more mad because he's going to end up having like 20 title reigns because he's just going to keep losing it and getting it back because they're trying to make this guy to be into the next big, WWE superstar. So I didn't have a problem with the match. I thought it was a great match. I agree with you. I think it was better than the WrestleMania main event. I think AJ, brought out a great side of Roman, and I think Roman did a little bit to help AJ as well. I think AJ obviously having the athletic ability and the in-ring ability, one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world, in any promotion. You're seeing why it's such a huge asset to have here in the WWE, and it was a fantastic match. And then, of course, you had Gallows and Anderson come out after, well, you know what? Let's not even skip there. My biggest issue with the match was the pre-finishes. Not the false finishes at the end, which I thought were great, but AJ hits Roman, awesome, with that forearm through the table, knocks him out.
That was incredible.
Was great. Roman's counted out at 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shane comes out. All right, we're going to restart the match, no countouts. You said right after that, Stephanie's coming out next. She's going to say no disqualification. Before anything happened, what happens? Roman hits AJ with a low blow accidentally. They call it disqualification. Stephanie comes out, restart the match. So now we're at a no DQ, no count out. Great. Match. Gallows and Anderson come down, attack Roman. AJ gets on the offense again, but AJ was out cold outside the ring. He comes in, hits the forearm. Roman puts his foot on the rope. We're starting to get into that where it's like, all right, this is getting that big match feel like that you want to see in the false finishes. My biggest issue though was he gets hit with that forearm. He pins him. Oh, I'm sorry, it was the 450 splash, right? And Roman kicks out at 2. Now, Roman was just out cold outside the ring for over 10 seconds, but now immediately after getting hit with a finishing move, he's kicking out at 2. I get what you're trying to do, but to me that didn't make much. Why have him counted out and get disqualified for him to just kick out at 2 once AJ actually hits him and immediately goes for the cover with his finishing move? So that's one of the things I thought was a little, like, okay, but did not have a problem with the result of the match. Like you said, Roman catching AJ in midair with that Superman punch was nasty, and then when AJ went for the forearm again, Roman ducked it and hit him with a spear. The spear was awesome. I think it was, like you said, I think it was one of his better spears. AJ sold it well, and it was a good finish to the match. I knew Gallows and Anderson were gonna get involved. I don't know how they're gonna further that story now, because you already have the rematch. It's not like it happened tonight on Raw where they might have said more about the story, and they said, and AJ was like, you know what, I don't need you guys. And then they're like, all right, you know what?
Quick. I think the rematch was more a storyline for Vince and them more than AJ and Roman. To be fair enough, I think obviously they could announce it tonight, but I think that was more for, oh, look at Stephanie and Shane working together, agreeing. I think that was more for them than for Roman and AJ. Can you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree, and like I said, I don't have a problem with it. I think the match is going to be awesome. I'm excited to see it, an Extreme Rules match between the two of them, but I just don't understand, like, where this... I said immediately when the count-out happened, this is going to be a rematch, even when they restarted it. Like, they're going to have another match. A lot of people expected Finn. I was not one of those people that expected Finn. I didn't think it was going to... I mean, we talked about that it was going to happen, but after just, like, watching and looking more and more, I was like, they're not going to have Finn debut tonight.
It'd be
further this out.
It'd be 4-on-3, and I think something like that they're gonna want to even the odds.
And I think they made the right call, giving AJ another match, because then Roman gets another win and he moves on to the next and then if Finn comes up, you have Finn coming in for the summer. You know what I mean? So Finn's there for going into the next couple months. You got SummerSlam, Battleground, and Money in the Banks. But I think they might hold off even a little bit further on that. I even hear again the speculation, does he show up tonight? So we shall see. I'm 100% okay with whenever Finn shows up. I'm a big fan of his work, so I won't be.
I'm a fan of the Bullet Club. You know that.
So exactly. So I don't think either of us will be against when he does show up. I just hope they do it correctly, and I'm actually very happy that it wasn't last night. But I do like that, even though AJ lost, he won by count out. He won by. They didn't just have him lose right off the bat. Clean finish. There was a bunch of chaos that took place before the final ending of the match, and Roman won with the spear, which is great for him, and I think it benefited both of them in the match.
Real quick, breaking news. WWE just announced that Enzo, we'll get to him later with the match, what happened to Enzo Amore, but he's been pulled from live events until May 20th. So Enzo Amore from, obviously, Enzo and Big Cass will be out of action until May 20th with severe concussion. We'll get to that later on that match. That was brutal to watch.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that next right after we're done with this match. But to go off of you, like I said, it was a better main event probably than WrestleMania. Better main event than Fastlane. Better WrestleMania than, what was it, Roadblock? Is that what it was? Yeah, Roadblock. It was probably one of their better main events they've had probably since the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble back in January. Like I said, I don't have a problem with the rematch. These two work well with each other. I think they can do great promos. Like you said, I think it helps Roman. Roman's bouncing off of AJ, and people are finally starting to see what AJ did while he was in TNA. The kind of thing this guy can bring him. TNA, he went from heavyweight to X Division, heavyweight. So you're finally seeing the kind of moveset this guy can do to where he's not just a little guy, in a big company, with big names, big guys. He can compete with them, and I think he proved that last night. And I'm pretty sure these guys have mutual respect for each other after that match last night. Usos and the Bullet Club, whatever we want to go ahead and call them. I think that just intrigues the storyline even more. Obviously, now that they're doing Extreme Rules, this is going to keep going. Does AJ go out like, what are you guys doing? Blah, blah, blah. And in reality, if they don't pull AJ underneath the mat, that match is over because Roman's going to hit what he's got to hit. Then you bring the Usos down. The great thing about the matches, the finishes, no one helped them get the pin. It was on Roman got the spear on his own, or AJ was going to do the forearm. No one went in there. Usos then do a double super kick and then threw Roman on top. Gallows and Anderson didn't do their two finishing moves they do and pulled AJ on top. It was just a clean finish. One of those Roman did the spear and that was it. No one else had to help him, with their finishing moves, which I think really helped out too as well. Because you could easily have seen Gallows, Anderson knocking out Roman and just pulling AJ on top, which some people may have thought that was going to happen, but it didn't happen. They finished the match on their own and in great fashion, especially if Roman ducking underneath the phenomenal forearm and then just hitting the spear out of nowhere. Because I honestly didn't think the spear was coming right there. I'm sure you can say the same thing.
I had a feeling. I thought maybe he was going to catch him in midair with the spear. I didn't expect him to duck it and then do it, which was great, like I said. So I don't have any issue with the way they built that match. I hope that they just give Roman more time to continue this kind of, you know, you want to do 1 versus all, that's great. Stick to that. Make him a badass. Go tell him, you know, let him go to the Usos and say, I know you're my family man, but I need you to just let me do myself. They get in his way, he starts beating them. You know what I mean? And then he could continue with this. I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a good guy. I'm the guy. Because then it's like, okay, he's not a bad guy. You know, he's not a heel. He's not a face. He's just out to kick ass and keep the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And that's the way it should be. And they just continue to, you know, go back and forth, like you said, and we talked about. You know, going into WrestleMania, he was, you know, whooping everybody, beating up on Triple H. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you're back to this, you know, just trying to have him talk in front of like these crowds that are just going to eat him up because they don't want to hear it. So they just need to get more to that. Let Roman show more personality than what they're letting him show.
Real quick, I got a storm going on here, so everyone out there watching, if I go blank, probably lost power.
Well, if you don't,
Paul's my reasoning for that.
Yeah, I mean, I can hear it overhead. It's thundering like crazy. So if we get struck by lightning or something,
See me start shaking, just
Don't
keep
say
the
that.
show going.
oh God.
yeah. Hopefully the
But
internet stays up. So we'll see.
But let's
Yes.
let's go away from that match and let's go to the segue that I just announced with Enzo Amore Cass, the Von Villas match. That match was literally probably 5 minutes long because Von Villa, I believe what Gotch was trying to do was trying to slide Enzo underneath the rope, as most people do. You know, the stronger guys throw him underneath, have him slide, and I think he held him for too long because it looked like Enzo was on his way down, but held him too long close to the rope, and Enzo's chest area hit the rope, and when he hit the rope, he immediately whiplashed, head hit the back of the mat, and where he hit the mat as is the problem because it was right near the corner, and just like any countertop or anything in the house, the corner is going to be the most roughest part of anything. Anthony, I'm sure you can agree, hitting your head probably on a corner top or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And completely knocked Enzo out. They showed the replay. You can see Enzo, he looked like a UFC fighter that just got kicked in the head. He completely, his eyes rolled back.
He went limp. Yeah.
He went limp. Gotch went down to pick him up, and I think when he picked him up, he realized something was going on because usually, you know, if someone's getting picked up, they'll go along with it, and he was out. Ref came out, medical staff. As soon as the medical staff got there, ref threw up the Ets. The match was officially called off. Stretcher came out, and I know you weren't watching the match live, but I was, and you can hear in Michael Cole's voice like he was truly concerned, and it was almost the same type of voice he did when the King went down with a heart attack. Ringside, Cole was looking shaken up. The New Day was over there eating chips, drinking Coke, probably not knowing what's going on themselves. They were just trying to go along, and then eventually, you know, they got out of there. And Cash looked like a wreck. I mean, that's the biggest dude right now probably in the business behind the Big Show and Kane in terms of height size, and he just looked like a complete mess. They finally came out with some videos showing them in the back. Later on, they said, you know, he was moving in the hospital, and then early this morning, Kevin Owens put a tweet out, him in the hospital with them in the background. You know, Kevin's giving the thumbs up. Then Enzo does a picture of him outside the hospital with his gown on. So obviously, diagnosis with a severe concussion, and stuff like this is why they tell you don't try this stuff at home, because even they're professionals, and it doesn't go to plan. I hate when people say it's fake. It's not fake. It's scripted. These are athletes, almost like actors that are paid to do stuff, but it's all scripted. The bumps, the hits, they're all real. They get bruised up just like everyone else. And
Yeah,
Sami Zayn's a good point when he was facing against Nakamura TakeOver. Look at the way he looked after the match. I mean, he looked like someone truly kicked his ass. And one bad bump, and that's it, man. That could be the end of it. And it almost looked like no one happened a couple of years. I think it was like a year ago. Rey Mysterio threw someone in the turnbuckle completely by accident with a rope, snapped the guy's neck right in half, whiplashed him.
Yeah, and it was sad.
Guy was dead. And
Oh,
this is
man, really?
It looked and
Yeah.
it looked just as bad when that happened. So,
Holy
you know, stuff happens. People happen in the ring. That's why they emphasize don't do this at home.
Yeah.
And it was a sad situation.
Which
Yeah, glad.
I want to look this up. Which this was Cash?
It was Enzo who got hit or who went down.
Yeah, that went down last night. Yeah. Glad to see, like I said, and I know we were very happy to see that they were already announcing that he was moving his hand, his extremities were good. So I mean, like you said, it did not look good when you were watching it live, and even watching the replay, it just looked bad. But I'm glad that he's already been let out of the hospital from what I'm seeing, and it's a severe concussion, which is not good, but at least he's up and moving, and he was able to walk out of the hospital on his own power. So definitely happy to see that that he's all right. Interesting fact that I read, they were saying that this before any of that happened, I don't know if you saw this, but the Vaudevillains were going to win the match. They said, despite what happened there, and they were saying the Dudleys might have gotten involved to cost Enzo and Cass the match. But they were saying the Vaudevillains were set to win the match. So interesting, because I really thought Enzo and Cass would have won the match before that happened.
Well, I guess they're going to set up the feud for the Enzo and Cass and the Dudleys, but now they'll have to obviously postpone that probably until probably after Extreme Rules. They say May 20th. That's like a week. That's a couple days before Extreme Rules, so they'll probably postpone it to afterwards until he can pass all the tests. But I expect Enzo will be back probably before June, I think. Like you said, you've told me stories where he's broken his leg and popped it back in place right there. Or I guess it's dislocated. You can't pop a broken bone.
He broke that. Well, they put the bone back in place, so this way he could get the surgery. Yeah,
that's gross.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll continue with that.
Tough guy. Glad to see everything's going to be all right. So that's a good thing for Enzo.
All right, let's jump to the match of the night, which was Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, and that was Anthony's froze. Anthony, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're
we hear you.
Yeah.
All right.
So, Sami
frozen?
Zayn, Kevin Owens. No, he's fine.
Frozen.
He froze, but we can hear him.
Oh, it's slow. It's the storms, man. It's the storms.
It's okay.
Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, probably the match of the night. The highlight of that match for me was Michael Cole doesn't know a damn thing about Sami Zayn's moves. He probably called every move Sami did Blue Thunder, when only one was Blue Thunder. And actually, Kevin Owens went on to win the match. And I think I don't know if this was planned for him to do commentary, maybe, but they had him go I think he was planned to do commentary, but I think the segment after the match in the ring, I think they probably told him, hey, roll with something real quick to try to make up the time for what happened to Enzo. Because obviously with that happening, you got to find some time somewhere. So after probably the match of the night, he has Byron Saxton comes in, he says all this stuff. And then he goes to ringside for the next match, Miz and Cesaro. But real quick, Kevin Owens should be a commentator after he's done. He could be a great heel commentator, dude. He was destroying Michael Cole and Byron Saxton. You saw the picture I sent where he had JBL's hat on?
No, I didn't. Oh, yes, I did. I did. Yes.
Did you post that on Facebook?
No. I'll have to, but he just destroyed them. But Anthony, did you get to watch any of the other? Have you got have you seen? I know you were at work. Did you ever get to go back to watch the matches, or you just heard about the results?
I haven't. I got to hear about the matches. I didn't get to watch them yet. I'm gonna go back and probably watch them in the next couple days when I have some more free time.
Okay.
I was on a bit of a shift there where I didn't really have. I came home, closed. I was going in the next morning to open, so I didn't really. I got to see AJ and Roman, so that was great.
Yeah. So after that, obviously they will shift to Miz Cesaro, to where Miz and Cesaro put on a really good match. I think Cesaro's another one of those guys that could bring out the good in someone, which Miz I think really put on a good match. Obviously, like I said, you have Kevin Owens at ringside. Climax of the match was Cesaro did his little spin the world thing. He did it 20 times on the Miz. Me personally, I don't like spinning around. I probably would have puked in the ring.
I'm with you.
So Cesaro ended up then halfway, I guess towards the end of the match, Zayn came back down and attacked Kevin Owens at ringside. Cesaro locked Miz in the crossface. Crippler crossface. Yeah, I'm using the term crippler crossface. They may deem it not worthy to be used, but I'm still using it.
What do they call it?
The crossface.
Crossface. They don't say crippler crossface anymore because it has reference to Chris Benoit.
Okay, gotcha.
So as the Miz was tapping out, the ref got distracted because Zayn and Owens decided to fight on top of the apron. For whatever reason, they decided to jump up there and start fighting. So Cesaro went over, knocked over Zayn and Owens. Miz did a little roll-up, won. Here comes Kevin Owens in the ring. Kevin Owens completely destroys the Miz. Went for a pop-up powerbomb. What's his wife's name? Maurice, yeah. Maurice takes the Miz out. So Owens takes out Zayn. Owens takes out Cesaro. And holds up the IC title saying, like, I'm coming for this now. This is mine. He even mentions at the ringside, I'm done with Sami Zayn. I'm going back to my IC title.
Yeah. I was very surprised to see him win the match. I predicted that Sami Zayn would get his first big win. So to see that he won with the pop-up powerbomb, great. Keep building Kevin Owens. I think he's awesome.
When will Sami Zayn win on a special?
Yeah. When is it? It's true. He deserves it, man. He needs to get one.
He deserves a win. I mean, it sucks. But it's just...
It does.
He's just going against the wrong people right now. I mean, obviously they weren't going to have Nakamura lose his debut match, and they weren't, Kevin Owens. If you want to build this guy up as the next heavyweight champ, maybe possibly you can't have him losing, pay-per-views like that, especially since he lost his title at Mania.
Yep. So, I'm excited to see it, but I think you're right. I think we're building some kind of triple threat or fatal four-way at Extreme Rules. Whether they, I don't know if they're going to have all three of them in it, but I think definitely it's going to be a multi-man match, whether it's 3 or 4. for the IC title at Extreme Rules, and I see Miz losing it then, so that'll be cool. The other match that I didn't get to see, but I heard they were calling it the Chicago Screw Job.
Yeah, it was
Natalia
honestly,
and just
that
go
pissed
over
me
the
off.
finish.
It pissed me
Yeah.
off because it was a great match. They put on an amazing match, and the match ended was Charlotte got Natalia and the sharpshooter, and the ref quickly called for the bell. It was Charles Robinson, which they referred to as Little Nate. I guess he had a nickname like that in WCW, I'm assuming, back in the day. Call him Little Nature Boy. And, you know, it was almost like a screw job. You know, Natalia didn't tap or whatever. Then after that, Brett and Natalia both put Ric Flair and Charlotte in the sharpshooter, and they both tapped out. And obviously, there was rumors going around that Brett didn't want to do that. You could tell it when he was at ringside. He didn't want to be there. He was like just looked miserable the whole time.
Yeah, he really, from what I read, he said he would do anything to be there for, you know, Natty, but he really didn't want to be at Payback. So, you know,
Raw's starting right now.
yeah, Raw's about to go
So
underway. I was about to say.
before we get off the air to go to Raw, let's go with the McMahon thing real quick. So where he chose Shane and Stephanie to join together to run Raw. So I guess tonight, I'm sure they'll start off. So we'll see how that goes tonight.
Yeah. Do you think that Shane and Stephanie will stay empowered through Extreme Rules, or do you think something's
Yes.
going to happen to her?
I think
through
they'll stay-
at least through Extreme Rules.
Extreme Rules, and then we'll see after that.
Yeah. Another thing that they said matches that were supposed to take place at Payback that ended up not happening. On SmackDown, obviously, you saw the League of Nations officially broke up. So they were saying that they were going to have maybe a match with Sheamus and Del Rio. I would not be against that feud. I know we've seen it before, but at least it gives them something to do. I'm glad they didn't push it into Extreme Rules. I'm glad they're going to try and at least give some kind of build up to it. You know, whether it's a couple weeks and then at Extreme Rules they have a match or whatever they do. But that leaves Rusev out. So does maybe Rusev go after Kalisto for that United States title? Because, I mean, Ryback's done.
Feel bad for the guy.
And Kalisto and the United States title needs to get off the pre-show. I mean, that's 3 straight pre-shows now that that title match has taken place. Fastlane, Mania, and now Payback. So it needs to get on the main card. You got to bring some kind of Cena's work, you know, that he did to bring this title with the precedent, you know, to giving the open challenges every Monday. It's like it's for nothing because the title's right back to the pre-show and is doing nothing for Kalisto, which it should be helping him.
Yep.
So hopefully they do something there. And I'm excited to see what happens on Raw. I'm excited to see this new era that they're deeming it with Shane and Stephanie in charge. So,
Well, we'll see what happens tonight. Obviously, we've already said, you know, with the Stream Rule pay-per-view. So basically, Raw, the review could be simple. What happens with Shane and Stephanie, and how do you continue the feud with Roman and AJ? I think it's a good way to almost lead people off so everyone can go check out Raw. What do you think, Anthony?
Yeah, and one other thing, when does Triple H come back?
Does
he show up in the next couple weeks? Does he show up tonight? Does he not show up for a while? And then maybe this gets prolonged into, you know, SummerSlam or something, and we have some kind of match where the two of them, like we've talked about, and it's been rumored, with the War Games matches that have like some kind of stipulation that where it actually matters who wins the match that gets control of Raw, or is it going to be another throwaway like how Shane lost his match and yet he's still in charge? So
before we head out, one thing we would like to announce. Do you want to announce it, or should I announce it? The little thing
I was going to wait to see what Paul said about next week if we were going to do a 7:30 start time.
Oh, so that's I can try to grease some elbows or whatever to see if we can start
no,
early.
It's no
if we
worries.
need to.
We'll probably wait, but we just wanted to see anyway. But Matt and I have discussed it, and I'll let you do it though, Matt. Go ahead.
What we're gonna do is, I did our mock draft back for football, and they're talking about the brand split. When we go back to our first
Did
7
you hear
o'clock
that?
show, as a special, we're gonna do a brand split mock draft for wrestling. Meaning, Anthony, one's gonna get Raw, one's gonna get SmackDown, and we're gonna draft wrestlers. Everyone's open except for NXT superstars. That really doesn't really count because they're gonna be down there. Injured superstars like Cena, Orton, all of them. So that's what we're gonna do on our first 7 hour. When we first get back to 7 p.m., that's when what we're gonna do as a little special for the return to 7 p.m.
Yeah,
Nice.
and we'll put some rules out. Probably we'll probably try not to get two like tag teams. We're not going to do that. We'll probably do like we each get one tag team as one of our 10 picks because I don't want to do where we're splitting up every tag team and it gets silly after a while. So we'll definitely have some stuff put out there, and championships we'll figure out if we're going to do that they carry or if we're going to do that the champions are all empty and then who we would have as our champions or something like that if we have that roster. So we'll definitely be working on that. That's something that we're interested in doing, like Matt said, after we did our NFL mock draft on the Shipe Sports Talk show, which is on Tuesdays at 6:45. But it will not be on this week, and they'll be back next week.
Yep.
That's right.
So.
All right, I think that's gonna do it for us. You got anything else, or should we just go ahead and start watching Raw?
Yeah, I think everyone could go and enjoy watching Raw, and I'm gonna hand it back over to
Paul.
Paul, yeah, absolutely. Sorry.
No problem. All right, everybody. So if you're watching the YouTubes, go ahead and hit subscribe. That way you get notified every time we come on air, and you actually get anything that goes in between, all the comments. You get to see all the earlier shows. But make sure you tune in every Monday as we review last Raw and preview usually the Monday night's Raw. So send us your comments, your questions, your picks, your highlights, your favorite matches of the matches before the week, and what you're looking forward to in the upcoming week. Follow us on Facebook. It's Facebook.com/Off the Top Turnbuckle. Send us tweets at OT3 Podcast 1, or you can just shoot us an email at OT3podcast@gmail.com. Yep. That should do it. I had a question.
Yeah.
So the question is that with who is it, Stephanie and what's his name?
Shane.
Are they like feuding, or are they kind of like on good terms?
It's a feud.
Yeah, no, it's a feud, but they're trying to make it look like they're all okay with it, but it's a feud.
Mm-hmm.
I gotcha. Okay. All right.
So it'll be built up. It looks like even more than it already is. So
cool. Well, I'm looking forward to these drafts that you guys have coming up. So I'll let you. We'll make sure to pay attention. Follow us on Facebook or on Twitter, and we'll make sure we put that out there. If it's next Monday's gonna start at 7:00. So.
yes, and we will let you guys know in advance about the draft. We don't know if it'll be this Monday yet. Probably not, but it will be at some time here in the next month, hopefully. So we'll definitely keep you guys posted on that.
Cool.
And Paul, was there anything else?
No, that's it for me.
All right. Well, from all of us here at OT3, we hope that you guys have a great rest of the night and enjoy Monday Night Raw. And like I said, we'll be back next Monday at 7:30 unless something changes. So stay tuned on social media, and we'll keep you updated. And also next week, Shipe Sports Talk will be back with a brand new show on Tuesday at 6:45.
Thanks,
So
buddy.
next week, we'll see you Monday, and then you could go and watch Matt on Tuesday.
Go Caps.
That's right. Go
Have
Caps.
a great
Go
night,
Caps.
everybody.
See ya. Bye.
See you later, guys.